nation's capital, good morning and a pleasant welcome to King's News, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, and I'm Newton Toprak reporting. Former House Speaker Fonatit Kofa files a $4.5 million United States dollars lawsuit against the Bokonjida group of companies for alleged defamation of character. The House of Representatives summons Public Works Minister Rodan Giddens to appear before its leadership to provide clarity on the ongoing demolition exercise in District Number 17, Monserrate County. The government of Liberia announced its readiness to begin construction of a 40-kilometer road linking Tapetazo to Zoechu. The government, through the Ministry of Public Works, says the project is scheduled to commence during the upcoming dry season. Away from Liberia, South Sudan court rejects SVP's bid to halt murder and treason trial. These, plus the news bulletin, our international developments, and our package. But we are taking a very short break. I'll be right back. Welcome back in. Let's now have the news bulletin. Former House Speaker Fonatit Kofa has filed a lawsuit against the Bokonjida group of companies and its chief executive officer, Elton Jones, seeking $4.5 million in damages for defamation, economic loss, and emotional distress. Filed at the Civil Law Court for the 6th Judicial Circuit Court of Monserrate County, the suit accuses the defendants of spreading defamatory and malicious falsehoods intended to damage Kofa's professional reputation and economic relationship. According to the complaint, Kofa alleges that the defendants made false public statements that suggested he engaged in financial misconduct and dishonesty, which severely injured his public and professional standing. The statement was made with actual malice and reckless regard for the truth, the complaint notes. Councillor Kofa claims that the chief executive officer of Bokonjida group of companies remarks recently ridiculed him publicly and led to a significant loss of reputation and professional esteem, both locally and internationally. Elton Jones, the second defendant, is specifically accused of making direct references to Kofa with the intention of humiliating him and also causing economic harm for him. Councillor Kofa further in his complaint that he had video and audio recordings to support his claim. The lawsuit outlines in damages $4 million United States dollars, represented a loss of business relationship, and economic benefits $500,000 in general damages for pain, suffering, and emotional distress. The lawsuit filed through the International Law Group legal team requested that the defendants be held jointly and serially liable, meaning each of the defendants could be responsible for the entire judgment. The House of Representatives has summoned Public Works Minister Rodan Giddens to appear before its leadership to provide clarity on the ongoing demolition exercise in District Number 17, Monserrate County. According to a release Monday, the House of Representatives says the decision was prompted by the former communication from Monserrate County District 17 Representative Bernard Blue Benson informing the House of Representatives about the 30-day demolition notice recently issued to residents of the pre-PAP community. The government's decision through the Ministry of Public Works has sparked concern among residents and lawmakers, with many criticizing the decision. Meanwhile, Representative Benson, through his communication, highlighted that the prefab community has existed for more than 45 years and is home to over 25,000 residents. He added that the area includes schools, churches, mosques, clinic, and more than 100 residential structures. Benson further emphasized that while the infrastructure development is necessary, the well-being and rights of citizens must be a top government priority. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Public Works, has announced the biodiversity conducted for the construction of a 40-kilometer road connecting Tapetato to Zuechu. In a statement Monday, the ministry says the road project is considered vital for improving connectivity in the southern region of Liberia, where access to transportation remains limited. It noted that biodiversity study is a significant step toward ensuring that the road construction aligns with environmental protection standards. According to the ministry, it is working out modalities including logistical planning, resource mobilization, and contractor engagement to ensure that the project is implemented. The ministry also emphasized its commitment to begin actual construction work of the project during the upcoming dry season. The Tapetato Town Zuechu Road project is expected to boost economic activity, improve mobility, and enhance the quality of life for residents in the region. Former President George Weah has broken silence on the recent fire incident at his 9th Street residence in Monrovia, crediting his wife Claire Marie Weah for a decision that may have saved their lives. Speaking over the weekend during a service at the Focke Church Family Fellowship, former Liberian leader expressed gratitude to God for what he described as divine protection. Weah, who served as Liberia's president from 2018 to 2024, said the recent incident is not the first time fire has threatened his property. He recalled a previous incident when he was allegedly forced to flee as flames engulfed the house. The cause of the September 24 blaze remains unclear, as the Liberian National Fire Service confirmed it was first alerted at 12:48 a.m. and quickly dispatched units from Station 1, later joined by backup teams and an ambulance. However, investigators say they were later denied access to conduct a full post-fire assessment. The Coalition for Democratic Change has described the fire as a national security concern. The party, through its national chairman, Anthony Jangatko, said the flames destroyed the former president's bedroom and called for an independent international forensic investigation. The incident occurred just days after the former president returned to Liberia, where he was greeted by jubilant supporters. The Sashi of the United States Embassy near Monrovia, Ambassador Zachuni, over the weekend met with Dr. Lena Bash, CEO of John F. Kennedy Hospital, and her team for a tour of the facility. The John F. Kennedy Referral Hospital, according to the release from the U.S. Embassy, stated that JFK was founded in 1971 with the U.S. support under President John F. Kennedy and is now managed by Liberia. The release noted that the visit included a stop at the U.S.-Liberia Partnership for Research on Vaccines and Infectious Diseases in Liberia, with a collaborative research program conducting clinical trials and studies on diseases of mutual concern, contributing to global public health policy, vaccine, and therapeutics. The embassy release added that the tour also highlighted recent U.S. government and previous contributions to diagnostics at the National Referral Hospital, including the Imaging Center. Accompanied by colleagues from the U.S. National Institutes of Health and the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The release further that U.S. Embassy Sashida Fair during the visit saw firsthand and vital work that the two nations are doing together to improve clinical services and prevent and manage infectious diseases. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has received a significant logistical boost, with the government donating 15 new vehicles to support the agency's ongoing fight against illicit drugs across the country. The fleet, comprising 12 Toyota Hilux pickups, 2 Toyota Land Cruisers, and 1 Toyota Fortuner, is expected to enhance the LDA's mobility, efficiency, and visibility in communities most affected by drug crisis. According to the authorities, the donation reflects the government's commitment to strengthening law enforcement institutions and providing the tools necessary to effectively tackle Liberia's escalating drug problem. Speaking at the handover ceremony, officials described the initiative as the decisive step toward building a safer and drug-free Liberia. They emphasized that improved logistics would enable the agency to expand operations and increase its impact nationwide. The National Port Authority has reaffirmed its commitment to education and national development by making a major intervention at the University of Liberia. At a high-level meeting on Monday, September 29, 2025, the president of the University of Liberia, Dr. Lily Mapayan, held talks with the managing director of the National Port Authority, Sekou Dukle, at the NPA headquarters in Monrovia. During the meeting, Honorable Dukle announced that the NPA will provide an initial contribution of 25,000 United States dollars for the procurement of chairs to ease the long-standing shortage of seating at the University of Liberia. The NPA boss further assured that the university would mobilize the wider business community and its partner to raise additional resources in support of the university's needs, and also disclose future collaboration plans, including training opportunities for NPA staff through UL to enhance professional development and operational efficiency. In response, UL President Dr. Lily Mapayan praised the NPA boss for what she described as a timely and transformational gesture. She stressed that the intervention provides not only immediate relief, but also sends a strong signal, and education remains central to Liberia's progress. The officer in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Deputy Commander of Police Fijara Biako, held a one-day citizen engagement over the weekend in Grand Bassa County focused on combating illicit drugs used in Liberia. During the meeting, Biako emphasized the importance of community involvement in the fight against drugs, particularly in protecting the youth, who he described as the future leaders of the nation. According to him, if citizens do not safeguard the youth of the nation, they are at risk, leaving the country in the hands of foreigners rather than nurturing their own citizens to take over leadership roles. Biako urged community members to collaborate with the LDA by reporting instances of illicit drug use and trafficking in their neighborhoods, and stressed that collective efforts are essential for achieving a drug-free Liberia, highlighting that citizens' engagement is crucial in addressing drug abuse. In another development, the LDA OIC disclosed an investigation is underway concerning the Grand Bassa County commander of the LDA following multiple complaints from citizens regarding alleged corruption. In a growing controversy emerged and criticism within the judiciary following the appointment of Chief Justice Yemen Besse's son as an associate magistrate despite Judge Nancy Sami, president of the National Association of Trial Judges of Liberia. Chief Justice Besse challenged Judge Sami Besse, that's Nancy Sami, to produce any legal authority, constitutional statutory, that prohibits a sitting Chief Justice from recommending a qualified individual, including a relative, for judicial appointment. Speaking during the judicial gathering in Lofa County over the weekend, Chief Justice Besse strongly defended his son's appointment, dismissing concern raised by the trial judge's president as legally baseless. He emphasized that his son is a Liberian citizen, currently enrolled at the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law, thus implying that this qualification meet the threshold required for judicial appointments at the magistrate level. However, the Chief Justice remark came in response to a written communication from Judge Nancy Sami, president of the National Association of Trial Judges of Liberia, who had previously raised concerns about the legitimacy of several appointments, including that of the Chief Justice's son on behalf of the aggrieved associate magistrates. Chief Justice Bassett invoked the legal adage that those who came to equity must come with clean hands and appear to allude to a potential conflict of interest involving Judge Sami's husband, an assistant minister in government. The Civil Society Task Justice and Budget Platform has strongly opposed proposed changes to ArcelorMittal's Mineral Development Agreement, warning that any reduction in Liberia's equity share will harm the nation's sovereignty and deprive citizens of fair benefits from the country's natural resources. In a statement released over the weekend, the group emphasized that Liberia's 30% equity share in ArcelorMittal must be preserved. According to the group, and a proposal to reduce the 30% to 15% will be resisted, adding that it is contrary to the interests of Liberians. The organization argued that even with the current 30% stake, Liberia has seen minimal returns from the transaction. They believe that the action by the company will severely limit the government's ability to generate critical revenue needed for national development and social services. The group further warned that the UP government of any that's of against prioritizing the interests of foreign companies over national development goals, stressing that such actions would repeat the mistakes of earlier administrations and weaken the country's negotiating position. The Supreme Motorcyclist Transport Union of Liberia has criticized the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Transport for launching what it described as a controversial and unfair motorcycle re-registration exercise. Speaking to reporters, the union's president, Chukon Gray, expressed deep dissatisfaction with the process, calling it an embarrassment to thousands of motorcycle riders nationwide, and argued that instead of supporting young people and creating new job opportunities, the Bwakakon administration is attempting to dismantle what he termed as self-created jobs that have empowered many Liberian youth. Gray further accused the government of reducing motorcyclists from being job creators to struggling street vendors and phone credit sellers. He claimed that such action undermined the aspiration of young Liberians who have relied on commercial riding as a means of survival and economic independence. The Supreme Motorcyclist Transport Union of Liberia leader added that any attempt by the Ministry of Transport to invite him for dialogue under the current conditions may provoke a response that could result in his imprisonment. Great urged riders to stand firm in defending their rights and reject any actions that could strip them of their livelihoods outside the bound of the law and Constitution. And the commander of the Crime Service Division of Grand Bassa County, Sophie Manston, has been accused of insulting journalists who had reportedly seeking information about criminal activities in the county. It can be recalled over the weekend tensions escalated at the police headquarters in Buchanan, where journalists went to make an inquiry about a lady identified as Ruth Nyamley, who had been accused of stealing $2.7 million Liberian dollars. According to eyewitnesses, the commander verbally abused the journalists during their visit, thus raising serious concern about the press freedom and the treatment of citizens seeking answers from law enforcement officers. The situation, according to eyewitnesses, got worsened as the CSD reportedly sprayed tear gas to disperse both journalists and a group of women gathered at the police headquarters demanding justice over their stolen Susu funds. Meanwhile, community members and media institutions are calling for an immediate investigation into the alleged act by the Grand Bassa County Police Commander of the Crime Service Division of Grand Bassa County. if you're just joining us, a reminder you're listening to King's News, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we following this morning. Former House Speaker, Councilor Fona Dikofa files a $4.5 million United States dollars lawsuit against the Bokon Juliet group of companies for alleged defamation of character. House Representative summoned Public Works Minister Roden Giddens to appear before its leadership to provide clarity on the ongoing demolition exercise in District Number 70, Montserrat County. The government of Liberia announces its readiness to begin construction of a 40-kilometer road linking Tapetasu to Zuechu. The government, through the Ministry of Public Works, says the project is scheduled to commence during the upcoming dry season. Away from Liberia, Sub-Sudan coast rejects SVP's bid to halt murder and treason trial. We'll take another short break. When we come back, we'll bring you the voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back. On this one, former President George Weah has broken silence on the recent fire incident at his 9th Street residence in Monrovia, crediting his wife, Clark Marie Weah, for a decision she may have saved their lives. Speaking over the weekend during a service at the Frokeklon Fellowship Church, the former Liberian leader expressed gratitude to God for what he described as divine protection. Weah, who served as Liberia's president from 2018 to 2024, said the recent incident is not the first time fire has threatened his property. He recalled a previous incident when he was allegedly forced to flee as flames engulfed the house.
It was today you and I are sleeping in Riyadh, whether ready or not. And I agree with her. I say you don't need to say anywhere you want to see, you want to go, I'll follow you. I wanted to know the decision we speak to and I follow. And my son will be at 12, almost 12 midnight, someone called me that my house was burning on that street. And I say to God, glory be to God, it would have been worse. It would have been sleeping there and the fire of the night. So you can see, I listen to the preacher today. We come to church not for people. We come to church to glorify God.
His former Liberian President George Weah there speaking. The commander of the Crime Service Division of Grand Bassa County, Sophie Meston, has been accused of insulting journalists who were reportedly seeking information about criminal activities in the county. It can be recalled over the weekend tensions escalated at the police headquarters in Buchanan when journalists went there to make inquiry about a lady identified as Ruth Nimlin, who had been accused of stealing $2.7 million Liberian dollars. According to eyewitnesses, the commander verbally abused the journalists during their visit, thus raising serious concern about press freedom and the treatment of citizens seeking answers from law enforcement officers.
I was kidding, yeah, we are member of the press. Yeah, my man. When they invite you to like then I'm gonna talk to us. Yeah, do anything you want to do.
Highlight of the scuffle between journalists and the Grand Service Division commander in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. The Supreme Motorcycle Transport Union of Liberia has criticized the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Transport for launching what it describes as a controversial and unfair motorcycle re-registration exercise. Speaking to reporters, the union's president, Chokon Gray, expressed deep dissatisfaction with the process, calling it an embarrassment to thousands of motorcycle riders nationwide, and argued that instead of supporting young people and creating new job opportunities, the Boakekon administration is attempting to dismantle what he termed as self-created jobs that have empowered many Liberian youth.
Supreme Motorcycle Transport Union of Liberia condemns the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Transport for unfair bike registration, forcing bike dealers before it can be sold exactly to redo their registration. We are being banned from using the road. Fellow motorcyclists, keke riders, the press, one and all. Let me further state categorically clear that at no time the government of Liberia invited me, my institution, to a meeting and asked me to convince my police to redo their bike registration for the ban being lifted or due to construction of Chinese overpass bridge. If any meeting of that nature is poor and government express such evil attempt, I will leave that meeting. I will not leave that meeting without being placed in prison, because my response to the government will not be good. We are not stupid.
He's the head of the Supreme Motorcycle Transport Union of Liberia, Chokon Gray, speaking. The officer in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency Deputy Commander of Police, Vijarat Biako, held a one-day citizens engagement over the weekend in Grand Bassa County, focused on combating illicit drug abuse in Liberia. During the meeting, Biako emphasized the importance of community involvement in the fight against drugs, particularly in protecting the youth, who he described as the future leaders of the nation. According to him, if citizens do not safeguard the young people, they are at risk, leaving the country in the hands of foreigners rather than nurturing their own citizens to take over leadership roles.
Floyd, on behalf of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, who was told of this occasion, we are asking you to come and give you these few words. And we have received your petition. We appreciate you a whole lot for this organization. It is our business to ensure that we all collaborate and ensure that we fight the issue of drugs here in Liberia. Let me appreciate the government of Liberia for affording us the opportunity to serve. Serving humanity is good. It's good to serve. And so, as we all know, this drug epidemic is of concern to every one of us, the national government and even the citizens. And so, we all have to put together to ensure that we fight this drugs issue. We have intensified our patrols. We have been out there ensuring we demolish those physical ghettos in rural communities. And we are simultaneously doing these activities alongside our community engagement, such as this. This is a good initiative for having us here to speak briefly. So we are also ensuring that we form intelligence we are formulating intelligence ensuring that they partner with us to give us those required information needed so as to go after those drugs traffickers. We intend to dismantle the network and make Liberia a drug-free country. And just of recent, as you may be aware, there have been a lot of arrests being made from the Cape Mount Belt, the northern part of Liberia, where we have intensified our searches of vehicles coming from our neighboring country. And so we have also ensured we create network whereby we'll receive information, and now those information are going to be kept anonymous. Then we're going to work after those information to go after those drugs dealers and traffickers. So things should be done in this place, as I was saying to my commander. There should be a continuous engagement. Communities engagement should be continuous. There should be organization of community meetings, and then all of those meetings should be attended by our officers and our supervisors in this locale. This fight should be every one of us fight. We have to save the future generation of this country so as to ensure that our country is peaceful, and so that we can have people who are going to be taking after us. We shall have left the scene or the arena of security, and we should have lawyers, we should have representatives and instructors and professors. We should have them coming up, and then not a society that will be taken over by drugs.
He's the officer in charge of the Liberia Job Enforcement Agency, Fijara Diakoden speaking. What if you just joining us? We've returned half past the hour. Remind you listening to King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we following this morning: former House Speaker Fonate Kofa-Fars, a $4.5 million United States dollars lawsuit against the Boko Dealer Group of companies for alleged defamation of character. House Representative summons Public Works Minister Roden Giddings to appear before its leadership to provide clarity on the ongoing demolition exercise in District Number 70, Montserrat County. The government of Liberia announces its readiness to begin construction of a 40-kilometer road linking Tapetazo to Zuechu. The government, through the Ministry of Public Works, says the project is scheduled to commence during the upcoming dry season. The way from Liberia, South Sudan court rejects SDP's bid to halt murder and tracing trial. These are stories to follow here this morning on King's Newsroom. We are taking another short break again. We'll be back with more voices on the program. On this one, in a growing controversy within the judiciary following the appointment of Chief Justice Yemin Besi's son as Associate Magistrate by Judge Nese Sami, President of the National Association of Trial Judges of Liberia, Chief Justice Besi challenged Judge Sami to produce any legal authority, constitutional, statutory that prohibits a sitting Chief Justice from recommending a qualified individual, including a relative, for judicial appointment. Speaking during a judicial gathering in Lofa County over the weekend, Chief Justice Besi strongly defended his son's appointment, dismissing concerns raised by trial judges president as legally baseless. He emphasized that his son is a Liberian citizen currently enrolled at the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law, implying that these qualifications meet the threshold required for judicial appointments at the magistrate level.
Few weeks ago, I recommended some maestros to the president. Most of them were law school graduates, and a few of them were not law school graduates. Among the maestros is my son, whether basic. You just complete a second year law school, you enter a third year. The president of Liberia appointed these people. I received a letter for honor, capacity as a president, that the president has appointed nominal lawyer as been direct magistrate and associate magistrate, and that was wrong, and that they wanted to intervene, advise the president. Next on Facebook, I saw the press release issue, but I say I appointed some who is not a lawyer as a direct magistrate. And the judge, so I got friends all over the world, everybody called, what? I said, well, thank God, I'm going to where honor is. First and foremost, The law, the constitution of the country gave power to the president to appoint all presidential appointees. He doesn't have to get advice from anybody. But when it comes to the judiciary, he appoints the chief justice, associate justice, judges, magistrates, and associate magistrates. But when it comes to magistrates, the law says the Supreme Court magistrate shall be a graduate of law school. So if the president appoints anybody who is not a graduate of law school, I, as a chief justice, will respectfully go to the Mr. President, they want you in error. They just require law school graduate. But when it comes to associate magistrate, there is nothing in the law. The law is absolutely silent. And you must know as lawyer that what the law does not give, it holds. Meaning that the president of the library has authority to appoint anybody as an associate magistrate. And the lady said to me, I don't see one person that the president appointed as Supreme Court magistrate who is not a lawyer. But the 4 or 5 persons who were appointed as associate magistrate who are not a lawyer, that's when they put it. My son needs a second. My son is aged, he's a librarian, he is in law school, and I nominated to the president, and the president sees fit to appoint him. I do not see anything wrong with that, madam. Your Honor, I don't see anything wrong with that. The president is not wrong. He has not violated the law, so I cannot intervene, I cannot advise. Besides that, we still got magistrates who are not even high school who are still on judicial payroll. The fact that we decided we train college graduates to be associate magistrate because we cannot afford to get lawyer now, did not take the power from the president to appoint associate magistrate. And since the law did not say that it must be, Your Honor, I don't see anything wrong with that. The president is not wrong. He has not violated the law, so I cannot intervene, I cannot advise. Besides that, we still got magistrates who are not even high school who are still on judicial payroll. The fact that we decided we train college graduates to be associate magistrate because we cannot afford to get lawyer now, did not take the power from the president to appoint associate magistrate. And since the law did not say that it must be a law school graduate, he has the authority to do so. That's my interpretation of the law.
He's Chief Justice Yemen basically speaking. Residents of District Number 1 in Montserrat County have joined by the government officials, security agencies, and civil society actors officially launching the Say No to Drugs campaign over the weekend. They initiated, spearheaded by the patriots of drug-free communities, marked a significant grassroots step in Liberia's ongoing battle against drug abuse and trafficking. The launch drew strong participation from Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency and Liberia National Police and other office of Montserrat County District 1 Representative Rukit Barry. Speaking at the symbolic launch over the weekend, Madam Pauline Zazat, acting chairperson of the Patriots of Drug-Free Communities, said the campaign marks the beginning of a movement, not just a campaign, but a movement of recovery, prevention, empowerment, and hope. Making remarks on behalf of Representative Barry, her special assistant, Garrison Kanwulen, called for an urgent collective responsibility and action in what he described as a community-level war against drugs.
Honorable Barry asked me to be able to deliver this message to you. She's presently in Nimba on some national duty. That's the reason why she's not here. But because of the importance of this program, she asked the office to be fully represented. This fight of drugs is not the LDA's fight. It's not a soup fight. I'm somehow a little disappointed because I believe the organizers of this program were able to communicate to all the communities across District 1. This program is about District 1. It's not just Blacktown, it's not just Fennel, it's not just Calfee, it's not just Carisburg. It covers District 1. But how many community leaders that we see here today? When the drugs activity starts, it starts from the house, the homes of the community. It gets to the community before it even starts to spread across. But today, it's almost like it's the organizer thing. So we are not part of it. When the negative effects start to come, then they start to call on LDA, they start to call on community leaders and other things. They should be able to take this whole fight in their hands. The only way we can be able to make an impact in society against drugs is to fight it holistically. By you sitting and allowing the DEA alone, the DEA will not be everywhere all the time. The office of the representative will not be everywhere all of the time. The soup, they will not be everywhere all of the time. The ghettos are within the community. The community brothers know the ghettos. They give houses to the dealers. They are aware. They keep these secrets. At the end of the day, they say they want to fight drugs. It becomes difficult for everyone to be able to do it. Honorable Barry stand by the organizing committee. The moment she gets back next week, she's going to call you people. I will communicate directly to be able to call you people that the trickle-down effect of what you people have started will be felt within the community.
Also in remarks, Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency Deputy Director for Operations Patrick Kumazu pledged the agency's full support to the citizens under the banner Patriot of Drugs-Free Community. According to Kumazu, drug is an epidemic that affects families, communities, and ultimately the future of the country, noting that the LDA cannot win battle against drugs alone.
On behalf of the Labrador Drug Enforcement Agency, ORC was told of this occasion. We are asking you to come and give you these few words. And we have received your petition. We appreciate you a whole lot for this organization. It is our business to ensure that we all collaborate and ensure that we fight the issue of drugs here in Liberia. Let me appreciate the government of Liberia for affording us the opportunity to serve. Serving humanity is good. It's good to serve. And so, as we all know, this drug epidemic is of concern to every one of us, the national government and even the citizens. And so, we all have to put together to ensure that we fight this drugs issue. We have intensified our patrols. We have been out there ensuring we demolish those physical ghettos in various communities. And we are simultaneously doing these activities alongside our community engagement, such as this. This is a good initiative for having us here to speak briefly. So we are also ensuring.
He's the Deputy Director for Operations, Patrick Kumazu, there speaking earlier. You heard the voice of the Special Assistant, Garrison Kewillen, who spoke on behalf of Representative Rookie Barry. And away from Liberia, South Sudan court rejects SVP's bid to halt murder and treason trial. A special court in South Sudan has ruled that it does not have jurisdiction to prosecute suspended Vice President Riek Machar and 7 court accused who are charged with murder, treason, and crimes against humanity. The court dismissed all objections by Machar's legal team regarding its authority, the constitutionality of the proceedings, and the claim that he was immune from persecution. The case will continue on Wednesday. Machar has dismissed the charges brought against him 2 weeks ago as a political witch hunt. The charges stem from an attack in March by a militia allegedly linked to Machar, which killed 250 soldiers and a general. On that notice, I would like to go home this morning on this edition of the program King's News, run the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home this morning, let's remind you of stories we've been following. Former House Speaker Fonati Kofa files a $4.5 million United States dollars lawsuit against the Boko Junior group of companies for alleged defamation of character. The House of Representatives summons Public Works Minister Rodan Giddens to appear before its leadership to provide clarity on the ongoing demolition exercise in District Number 70, Monserrate County. The government of Liberia announces its readiness to begin construction of a 40-kilometer road linking Tato to Zoechu. The government, through the Ministry of Public Works, says the project is scheduled to commence during the upcoming dry season. Away from Liberia, South Sudan court rejects SDP's bid to halt murder and treason trial. These are stories to follow here this morning on King's News Broom. I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped in making this package. Also, it's better to join us this afternoon at 1 o'clock. I wish that we'll be here for another splendid edition of the program. My name is Newton Topa. I presented this edition of the program. Thanks for listening and watching. Good morning.